Welcome to Line Change, a podcast about hockey, social issues, and change makers in the game we love. I'm your host, Ian Kennedy. Welcome to Line Change. I'm your host, Ian Kennedy, and today we are talking to two incredible NCAA hockey graduates who will be moving on to the PHF. Those two will join the Boston Pride this season, and they are Alina Muller and Sophie Shirley. First up, I'll be talking to Alina Muller, one of the best in the world from Switzerland, a Northeastern grad. Alina is joining the Boston Pride in a historically significant signing. Here's our conversation. Well, thanks for joining me, and it's exciting to talk about your signing in Boston. I think it was something that was rumored for a long time. I talked to you at the World Championships, and you said there that you were intending to stay in North America and play professionally, and that kind of put it in everybody's minds that something was about to happen. Why did you choose Boston?
Well, I started my North American hockey journey in Boston when I committed to Northeastern. Came here, didn't really know what to expect, but I've only heard great things about the school and about the city. And yeah, it definitely exceeded my expectations. I made my friends here. I grew in an environment. I feel very comfortable and think I can develop here as a human and as a hockey player. So it was a pretty easy decision to stay here if I get the opportunity.
And of course, I think you've seen just as much as everybody that the PHF has been making just a number of signings from every major school pretty much in the NCAA. Some big European names like Susanna Tapani and Nuorati from Finland. It just seems like the caliber level is going up and up. Did all of that play into your mindset? And if not, what are you thinking now about your decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very exciting time as a female hockey player at the moment, especially overseas. The game is growing. A lot of great players and good characters are trying to help build the game, trying to do what's best for women's hockey for the future. And I was very, very lucky that I got a fifth year here at school. So I had one more year to think about what I want to do next. But it was always clear for me that it's a dream to one day play with and against the best players in the world. And yeah, Boston and the PHF gave me that opportunity to make that dream become reality. And as you said, when I signed, I mean, I've heard rumors from other players that want to play in the PHF, but it wasn't a lot out yet. And then the last couple of weeks, and at the moment, great caliber players are signing the PHF, and I'm just super excited to play against and with some of the best players in the world. Yeah, I can't wait to get started and be on the ice with such great players.
And in Boston in particular, I think we've seen a lot of really great NCAA signings. Yourself, Sophie Shirley, Gabrielle David. It just seems like this group, and of course Chloe O'Rourke, who you played with at Northeastern. What kind of discussions did you two have about this whole decision to continue being teammates, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we love playing with each other. We have been roommates since my freshman year here. We know each other really well. We get along well. And she's an awesome hockey player, but I also love her off the ice. And yeah, when towards the end of the past season, obviously we're talking like, well, what's next? Yeah, I think she has a lot of important friends here in Boston as well, and for her it was pretty clear to stay in Boston, and then when I heard that, I mean, that made my decision even easier. And I'm, yeah, super happy that we get to play together again.
And I think obviously the long run goal here is that there's a league where Marie-Philippe Poulin and all of those women are also involved. And I think that you fit right in with that category, and we can bring over some of those, the Finnish players and all those big names that are kind of scattered still, together. What would that mean to you to see one league, let's say? I know that there might be two, but let's just say that in this dream world, everybody's in one spot. Um, what would that mean in your mind, to yourself, your own career, and to women's hockey?
Yeah, I mean that would be the best case scenario, and of course, all of us hope that that's gonna happen at some point, sooner rather than later. I mean, I've played against these players at World Championships. They're unbelievable athletes, and I would love to play alongside them and learn from them every day. And I also see at Worlds that a lot of people would watch our games. I mean, yeah, there's full house when USA plays Team Canada. Unbelievable level of hockey, and I'm sure we would win a lot of man hockey fans coming to our games, wanting to watch us play hockey because we are good hockey players, and it's fun to watch. And then I know if we get this sorted out, two leagues, one league doesn't really matter. If we can get the best players together to play, people are gonna come watch, and that's my dream to have full house, to play in front of a lot of people and show what we can.
Well, it's not an NHL size arena, but definitely at Warrior in Boston, you're going to have good crowds. It's a pretty interesting building to be in. There's lots of diehard Boston Pride fans, so you will get that to some extent. But I definitely get what you're saying, that we want to see everybody playing, and we want to see the best in one league, and that's why I think your signing was so important, because you are, you know, compliment to you, you are one of the best in the world, and you don't have to respond to that. I'm just going to put it out there, and we'll leave it there. But so that it's a big thing for the league to see people like yourself and Nuarati and people like that coming over and choosing this league. And I just leaked out another signing that is pretty significant in terms of that today. So you'll have to check that out at some point. But the Switzerland, I want to talk to you a little bit about that as well. Obviously, the development there is coming, and we saw that Laura Stalder has decided to go back to Switzerland this year and work on that development at a grassroots level. Um, but the PHF is a league as well that is seeing a lot of international players coming over, whether it's yourself or Chloe, being a Team France member, Teresa Schaffsal, who's from Team Austria that's signed in Montreal. So, and of course, there's now six, as of today, members of Czechia that are in the league as well, Czechia's national team. So it really is growing that way. What do you see for Switzerland in the future? Do you think that you'll see more players coming to North America? Do you think that the work will be done there for a domestic league in Switzerland? Uh, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a pretty hard question. I mean, yeah, we're making big steps in Switzerland with the women's league. Now getting support from the men's leagues. I mean, it already helps if the name of a team is the same as the men's team, like Esther Byrne or Eva Zug, where Laura is helping to grow. Um, I mean, that already helps immensely for marketing purposes. And yeah, I mean, I think still a lot of young players want to play college hockey for sure. At that age, it's still the best opportunity for us. To play college and NCAA level. Then afterwards, as like a pro, I think. I, I mean, I don't know really how many would want to leave Switzerland to play pro over here without um, playing in college. Um, and if the league in Switzerland grows, I can imagine that that our players want to stay there and help grow the game at home. I think it's great that a lot of European players are coming here and play here, but obviously I also want the leagues in Europe to grow.
Mhm.
So eventually, the best players have to go back and play in their home country, like Laura is doing. Yeah, it's a hard question. We will see in a couple of years, but definitely college hockey is number one address if you're a younger player.
Yeah, it seems like the SDHL's made a lot of moves as well in Sweden. It seems to be the top league in Europe where people are kind of filtering into. We heard that there's going to be potentially a European Club Championship coming up, much like the Champions Hockey League on the men's side.
Mm.
And Sweden does the same thing. You know, what you're talking about with Switzerland, they've Frölunda and Modo are all teams that have uh, the men's and the women's are one club, um, and they kind of share some of those resources and training facilities and supports and things like that. So it definitely is a model that works for yourself. Obviously, this is a new experience. It's a brand new adventure. Um, you're going to be playing in a new league, new competitors, a lot of faces that you probably have never faced before as well. What are your goals going into year one in the PHF?
I mean, as a team, I know they have been doing great the past years already. But yeah, we definitely want to win. What we can win, definitely championship. And otherwise, I think, I mean, playing professionally can allow you to make a big step forward just individually. You can work on skills like anytime. You can take care of your body, have enough sleep, optimal recovery. I know still have a lot in me. I know I can still get a lot better. I just want to appreciate and use the time I have not to do any work or studying and become the best version I can be as an athlete and as a person. um Basically just um allowing or learning the transition to pro hockey. My entire life I've been grinding either school or work, besides trying to be a professional athlete, and now I can actually be one. It's unreal. I can't even believe it, and everybody that helped me get there. I want to give back with my best hockey I can show on the ice.
Well, you're probably terrifying a lot of defenders when you're saying that you've still got a lot that you can get better at, and that doesn't probably make a lot of people feel good, but your teammates will be happy about that. And I think that it probably will be a lot of what you're saying. It matches in some ways right now the PHF to NCAA hockey, where most of the games are on the weekend, but now you've got all that extra time. I know that they're working hard to increase these salaries so that we can see those weekday games, that teams can expand farther away. So all those things are happening as that salary cap goes up, and that's of course big for the game as well. So it is super exciting to be there. Now you mentioned no more studying, um, and I read, I think it was in a Swiss newspaper actually, a list of the things that your degrees. And that's one thing that I think is really awesome about women's hockey is that you're not just getting people that are elite athletes. We're getting some very intelligent, articulate people in the game that can, connect with on a variety of levels with people in their communities. They can make an impact off the ice as well. Tell us about your education. What did you study? What degrees did you get? I think people are always interested in those items.
Yeah, of course. I did my undergrad in behavioral neuroscience. So the undergrad program in neuroscience is on a pretty basic level because yeah, the brain and the nervous system is super complex. So you have to start basically with all the scientific like classes, yeah, on the whole spectrum, like physics, chemistry, bio, organic chemistry. Yeah, and then towards like my last year, my fourth year, here I was more towards neuroscience only, like learning all, I don't know, brain anatomy, and a lot of pathology work. So if something is damaged, like how is it affecting your body? And then I got the chance to do another year, and I started a 1 year master's in my fifth year in rehabilitation sciences. And yeah, towards the direction of neuroscience. So right now I'm in like a neuroscience PT class where you, yeah, learn all every single structure of the brain and the nervous system. Yeah, it's pretty hard degree, super multifactorial. You can go into every direction from there. I love it. I'm super passionate about it. I'll definitely come back to it when, yeah, when I have enough from hockey. But yeah, right now I'm super happy that I can fulfill my dream to just play hockey. And obviously I made a lot of connections, and here in Boston, yeah, medicine field is super developed, and there's a lot of opportunity to make, yeah, to get internships or work at the place. And I think I'll end up somewhere, like in a sports performance or rehab setting, working with athletes. That would be, yeah, my ideal world.
So you're, when someone has a concussion on your team or a headache, you're going to be the first person they go to. You're pretty much a player staff member already. And maybe, who knows, maybe we'll have Dr. Haley Wickenheiser and Dr. Alina Muller at some point on the case of keeping athletes healthy across the board. That would be a pretty cool connection. But that's it's amazing. For the time being, though, just be a professional hockey player, okay? Keep us entertained for a while longer, and hopefully the big bucks follow you there, and we can watch you play for a lot longer. And that can be your, maybe you can work within the league as well on some of those rehabilitation things and all of the good stuff that comes with that, because we don't want to lose you yet. Okay, so stay around for a while. But on the ice, I want to ask you one last question. I know that you're probably one of the better known players in the league that's coming in. I would assume that most people have seen you play at some point, whether or not it's with Northeastern or with Switzerland at one of these World Championship tournaments, the Olympic Games, whatever it might have been. But I have been asking every single newcomer to the league the same question, and that's uh, if your fans, the new Boston Pride fans, PHF fans, haven't seen you play, what kind of player are you? What can they expect when you step on the ice? I know you're humble, okay? You just called neuroscience a basic course at the start. You just said you've got a lot to get better at. Um, so humble is part of your description. But now's your time to tell people about who you are on the ice.
Um, well, I can tell them that they will always see 100% effort from me. I Every decision I make on the ice is for the team, try the team to help win. Yeah, now just I'll work hard and battle every shift I'm out there. Um, and I think I'm more known for my passing play. I take pride in the D zone. Getting helping the forwards go to the next zone and create offensively with my D zone work first, and trying to give the puck to the player that is in the best position.
Oh, that's great. I know that whether it's in the games or I can't imagine, I think that people will be showing up to watch the Boston Pride practice because you've got so much skill in that dressing room already that it will be really fun. I mean, Northeastern was a good team, very good team. But just looking at some of the names that are coming in there, I think that it's going to be, and some of the names that haven't been announced yet that are going to be Boston Pride members are, it'll be a pretty impressive group to watch, and I think you'll. I don't know. I hope. I saw a goaltender was announced. Katie Burt's going back there, so that's good. At least we now know that you're not just going to have to score 15 goals a game, and somebody's there to stop the puck now too. So that's a good addition. So, but thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to see you on the ice with the Boston Pride this season.
Thank you, Ian. Thanks for having me, and again, thanks for what you do for women's hockey. We need the attention to grow, and we need people like you that want to write about us.
Next up, it's Sophie Shirley. Shirley played for the Wisconsin Badgers, winning a national championship, and has been a member of Canada's development team in recent seasons as a prospect for their senior national team. Here's my conversation with Sophie. Thanks for joining me. And obviously, it's exciting news that you have signed with the Boston Pride. A great group of NCAA players coming in there. Alina Muller, Gabrielle David, yourself, Zoe Boyd on the blue line, Chloe Aurora. It just seems like the list continues to climb, along with the people that we know are coming back. It's definitely going to be one of the tougher rosters to play against in the league. And I'm wondering, from your standpoint, what made your decision here? Because obviously you probably had a couple of different options, but you ended up choosing the Boston Pride and the PHF. What was that? What was your thought process?
Sure. Great question. I think, I started off kind of just talking with Paul, the head coach, and I think I had a really good conversation with him. Just a little bit more about the organization and how, the league went and everything like that. And that really kind of caught my eye, just with the, the regular season play and the standard practices, kind of how it was like in college and stuff like that. So I think that immediately was something that I knew that I wanted to do in order for me to develop and kind of, improve my game. I knew I wanted to be practicing on a more regular level. And then also with, like you said, all the amazing players that are there now, I think that was another huge thing for me, in order to develop my side of the game.
Now, obviously, you're coming from a program that was stacked with incredibly skilled players. I can imagine your practices there had a pretty high tempo as well, and I can't imagine Boston to be any different with the lineup that's there. So talking to a lot of NCAA players, obviously, this kind of fits that model, right? You play on the weekends for the most part. You train and you practice and you rest and recoup in the week, and then you go right back at it. And we know that the league's going to develop to a point soon where weekday games will come in once that salary cap raises continue to happen. But it is great, and I've heard great things about Paul Mara and his recruiting there. But coming from Wisconsin, you won a national championship this year. What was that?
Yeah,
like
that was
for you?
pretty cool. Obviously, I've won 2 times before as well too, but like I said, having this being my graduating year, my final year there, I think this one was, especially special to be able to, kind of leave the program on a high note and, head into my professional career with that on my back. But obviously, such an amazing thing to kind of go through, and you have your highs and your lows within the season, and I think our team kind of was able to rally around each other and really, get together and have a couple of really, really big wins near the end of the season there. So, obviously a really, really cool experience, and was happy to come out on top.
And I've seen the posts from your school about where people are going after school and what they're doing and their plans. And it seems like there's, the graduating class is pretty impressive. Of course, there's some really spectacular young players still in the program as well. Wisconsin's always a powerhouse, so no concerns there. But speaking with your other graduating class, what was so far you're the one and only that's gone in this direction, at least publicly. We don't know who else might sign at some point, but what was that? Did you discuss with your friends, your teammates about what they might be doing, and how did that kind of factor
Yeah,
into
I
your
think,
decision?
we definitely, obviously being around those girls and having them, as really, really close friends for 5 years, I definitely think that's something that you talk about and something that comes up in conversation. But, obviously it's different for everyone. Everyone wants, different things and have, certain things that are more important than other things. And, whether it's going overseas, deciding to go on the PW or the PHF, I think we all kind of we support each other's decisions on whatever that may be. And, I knew every single one of those girls kind of had my back, when I was kind of deciding that I wanted to come play for Boston. So, yeah, no concerns on anything like that. But I think just everyone was super genuinely really happy for me, which is great. And, I know whatever they choose to do, I'll be happy for them as well.
That is I think a really interesting part of women's hockey right now is because, of course, there are those choices, whether it's the PWHPA or the PHF, or going to Europe to maybe play in the SDHL in Sweden or something like that, or going on to those careers because you're all highly educated individuals that have so much else going on for you other than the National Hockey League, where you might not finish high school, but it's totally different here. So. But the good thing that I've always found with women's hockey is that despite some of the perceived division, everybody really does support each other and really wants the same thing, which is a wonderful
Yeah.
portion of it. Now, for you yourself, Team Canada,
Yeah,
still on the radar?
sure. 100%, I would say yes.
It's I think that's seeing other people that have come through that collegiate series in the summer, that have been at some of the selection camps, whether it's Lexia Gia or Gabrielle David, people like that have kind of come over as well with you. I think there's going to be more competition in the PHF for those spots this year. Obviously, Lauren Gable's with you in Boston as well, someone that's played on that national team. What would that mean to you to get that, to crack that, and to actually be the first PHF member to make a Team
Yeah, I
Canada
mean,
roster?
obviously that's the goal. It's been the goal for me for quite some time, kind of working my way up through U18s and development, and kind of now moving into that national team program. I think it's been a dream of mine, and I'm sure many of those other girls, for as long as we can remember. And I think, for me, I'm going to continue to try and strive for that goal, that top level of play and everything like that. So I think, this is just kind of another step along the way that I'm taking in order to develop my game, like I said before, and to hopefully, eventually maybe make a team and something like that. So, yeah, I'm excited, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, I definitely followed every game of the World Championships this year. Um, Team Canada is obviously incredible. You can't really fault them for much. It's always a coin toss whether or not it's them or the USA. And this year, Czechia was there right at that. Sweden took Canada to overtime. The gap is closing, and that's really incredible to see. And I think leagues like the PHF, where we're getting so many of these international players, like Alina Muller, who's going to be your teammate now, that's big. It's important to the game. But 5 years ago, when you came into the NCAA, you probably didn't foresee yourself being a professional hockey player. Am I
No, you're
safe to say
definitely
that?
correct on that for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, so you
yeah.
took your degree. In another life, what would you have done? What was your degree in? Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that side of
So
you.
my degree is in health promotions and health equity. But for as long as I've remembered, I've always wanted to be a coach or done something in coaching. Um, so hopefully, I'm planning on obviously doing my professional career in Boston, and then maybe helping out with some coaching around the community. That's something that I've always kind of wanted to get into, whether it's player development, helping out with power skating or skills coach or something like that is something um, that I'm super into, and I've always really dreamt of doing. So, I love hockey, I love the game, and I want to stay around it as much as I can. So I think, after everything is said and done, that's definitely something that I want to get into.
Well, I've said this to all the players. I don't. I ask them all to describe themselves as a player. I'm going to give people a little bit of a hint with you, that and you don't have to brag about yourself or boast. You can be humble in this regard, but one of your best attributes on the ice, of course, is your skating. So when you talked about that power skating portion, I think that people that watch you play are going to immediately recognize that you are a very skilled skater. Your edge work and just your changes of direction and the way that you play the game. That's going to be a feature that I think a lot of defenders are going to have trouble with. But if you were describing yourself to PHF fans that don't know you, what else would you tell them about the player that Sophie Shirley is?
Great question. I think you kind of hit it on the head with using my skating and my speed and my advantage. I think that's something that has always been a huge part of my game. And, with whether that's beating defenders or out of the corner on one-on-ones, it's something that I like to really hone in on. And so definitely that part of my game is huge, but also, contributing offensively has also been a huge thing that I focused on, whether that's scoring or making plays. That's something that I'd like to kind of contribute, I think, towards within our team. And then, obviously my defensive game too. I think that's something that I've really worked on and focused on in the past 5 years with Wisconsin. So I'm kind of ready to, showcase that a little bit more too, and kind of show that I can be that well-rounded, full ice type of player. So I think that's what you're going to get. And then I also love, we did a lot of community stuff and fan-based stuff back in Wisconsin. So I love, communicating and interacting with fans and, kind of getting around out in the Boston hockey community will be huge for me too.
That's something that I've obviously, I've basically flipped my entire script of hockey writing here, and I'm now 100% focusing on women's hockey. Of course, I still talk about equity and diversity and some of the issues in the game, but when I'm writing about hockey now, it's women's hockey. And one of the portions that I've really enjoyed is not just the accessibility, but the giving back portion that you see women in the game are still really excited to be part of the community and to participate and interact with fans, where on the men's side, sometimes it almost looks like it's a chore for them or it's an annoyance. And that's still really exciting, being at this kind of ground floor of the women's professional game where fans that are into it can get that interaction. So that is great. But don't, stay with playing for a while. I said the same thing to Alina Muller when we talked about her incredible neurosurgery or neuroscience degrees and things like that, don't leave hockey too soon. Don't go into coaching until we get to watch you play for quite some time. So, but I'm wishing you all the best. I'm so grateful that you were able to come on and chat about your career here and introduce yourself to fans. And I'm really excited to see the talented roster in Boston this year.
Thank you so much, Ian.
Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Ian Kennedy, and that was a conversation with the PHF's Alina Muller and Sophie Shirley. I hope you'll join us again, and that was a line change.